Hey coin lovers! Welcome to the Worth Old Coins channel, your place to discover the hidden value and rare facts about old coins. In today's video we're revealing the top 5 valuable coins, and one of them might just be in your collection. So don't skip this video, let's find out their real worth. Top 1. The 1980 Australian 20-cent coin is part of the nation's decimal currency system that was first introduced in 1966, and by the year 1980 it had become one of the most widely circulated and recognizable coins in Australian daily life. This denomination is especially famous for carrying the image of the platypus, a unique and distinctly Australian animal that symbolizes the nation's remarkable biodiversity. The 1980 issue continues this strong tradition, blending the enduring portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse with the elegant reverse created by designer Stuart Devlin, making the coin both a functional piece of currency and a cultural emblem. On the obverse, front face, the 1980 20-cent coin bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by Arnold Machin OBE. This portrait, which had been adopted in 1966 for the introduction of decimal coinage, depicts the Queen facing right, adorned with the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland diamond tiara. Around the portrait runs the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 1980, clearly marking the monarch's name, the issuing nation, and the year of minting. Machin's portrait was elegant and refined, presenting a young and dignified queen, and it remained in use on Australian coins until 1984, when it was replaced by the Raphael Machin portrait. Thus the 1980 coin belongs to the later phase of the Machin effigy years. On the reverse, back face, the coin features the platypus design by Stuart Devlin, who was appointed in the 1960s as the official goldsmith and jeweler to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Devlin's work on Australian coinage is celebrated for capturing the spirit of the nation through its unique wildlife. The reverse shows a platypus gliding through stylized water ripples with its webbed feet outstretched and its iconic bill prominently depicted. Above and to the left sits the bold numeral 20, denoting the coin's denomination. This design has endured unchanged since 1966 and is still used today, making it one of the longest-running coin reverses in modern Australian numismatic history. In terms of physical specifications, the 1980 20-cent coin was struck in a copper-nickel alloy composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel. It has a diameter of 28.65 millimeters, a weight of 11.31 grams, and a thickness of about 2.5 millimeters. The edge is milled, reeded, providing a tactile feature that helps distinguish it from smooth-edged coins. These specifications have remained consistent since the denomination's introduction, ensuring compatibility with vending machines and easy recognition by touch. The historical context of the year 1980 is also worth considering. By this time, Australia had been using decimal currency for 14 years, and the public was thoroughly accustomed to the system. Inflation during the 1970s had already reduced the purchasing power of small denominations, but the 20-cent coin remained significant for everyday purchases such as snacks, public transport fares, newspapers, and other small goods. In fact, the 20-cent coin was one of the most important workhorse coins of the economy, widely exchanged across the country in massive daily transactions. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was responsible for striking the 1980 issue. Mintages in the 1980s were generally high, reflecting the need to supply a growing economy with sufficient circulating coinage. Millions of 20-cent coins were struck in 1980, meaning that in circulated condition this coin is very common. However, for numismatists, the condition of the coin is critical. A coin that has circulated heavily for decades will typically be worth only its face value, but examples preserved in uncirculated, mint state, condition, or in specially struck proof versions, sold in collector sets, are far more desirable. Proof coins with their mirror-like finish were produced in limited quantities and are especially prized among collectors. From a cultural and symbolic perspective, the platypus reverse deserves special attention. The platypus is one of the few monotremes or egg-laying mammals in the world, and it is found only in eastern Australia and Tasmania. With its distinctive combination of duck-like bill, beaver-like tail, and otter-like feet, the animal fascinated European naturalists when first described, and it remains an iconic emblem of Australia's unique wildlife. By choosing this animal for the 20-cent coin, Stuart Devlin created a design that is not only visually appealing but also a representation of national pride, instantly identifiable as Australian both domestically and internationally. In the numismatic community, the 1980 Australian 20-cent coin is often collected as part of complete year sets or as a component of broader decimal coin collections. Although not rare, its value depends on condition. Circulated examples are generally worth only their face value, 20 cents. Uncirculated coins can be valued a few dollars, AUD, depending on grade. Proof coins struck for collector sets carry a higher premium, sometimes ranging from $17 to $35 Australian dollars or more, depending on demand and preservation. The legacy of the 1980 issue lies in its representation of continuity and stability. T bridges the gap between the early years of decimalization and the later portrait changes of the mid-1980s. With its enduring design, reliable specifications, and deep symbolism, the coin remains a lasting testament to Australia's national identity and to the important role of coinage not only as a medium of exchange but also as a cultural marker. Top 2. The 1998 Australian 20-cent coin stands as part of Australia's decimal coinage system, which had been introduced in 1966 to replace the pre-decimal pounds, shillings, and pence. By 1998, more than 3 decades after decimalization, the 20-cent coin had become one of the most familiar pieces in circulation, recognized instantly by its iconic reverse design featuring the platypus. This particular year of issue is notable as it came during a transitional period in Australian coinage, with the obverse portrait of Queen Elizabeth II having already been updated from earlier designs, reflecting the passage of time and the maturity of the Queen's reign. On the obverse front of the 1998 20-cent coin appears the third official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by the sculptor Raphael Maclauff. This effigy had been introduced in Australia in 1985, replacing the youthful Arnold Mackin portrait that had graced coins since decimalization. Maclauff's portrait shows the Queen facing right, crowned with the royal diadem, a ceremonial crown often worn for official state occasions. Unlike the Mackin portrait, which emphasized youth and simplicity, the Maclauff effigy presents the Queen in a regal and almost timeless manner, with greater detail in the facial features and the hair. Surrounding the portrait is the inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 1998, indicating the monarch's name, the issuing country, and the year of minting. By 1998, the Maclauff effigy was in its final years of use in Australia, as it would be replaced by the Ian Rank Broadley portrait in 1999. The reverse back of the coin continues to feature the celebrated platypus design by Stuart Devlin, the Australian goldsmith and jeweler appointed in the 1960s to design the new decimal coinage. Devlin's artistry captures the platypus, one of Australia's most unusual and beloved native animals, gliding gracefully through stylized ripples of water. Its webbed feet are stretched out as though swimming mid-motion, and its distinctive duck-like bill is clearly visible, marking it instantly identifiable. Above and slightly to the left in bold relief appears the numeral 20, representing the denomination. This reverse design has remained unchanged since its debut in 1966, and its endurance is a testament to both its artistic quality and its cultural resonance. The specifications of the 1998 Australian 20-cent coin remain consistent with earlier years. It was struck in a copper-nickel alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving the coin its characteristic silvery appearance and durability. The coin has a diameter of 28.65 mm, a weight of 11.31 grams, and a thickness of approximately 2.5 mm, with a milled, reeded edge that provides tactile distinction from other denominations. These specifications have been unchanged since 1966, ensuring continuity in everyday transactions and vending machine use. From a historical perspective, the 1998 20-cent coin was issued during a relatively stable period in Australian currency production. The Royal Australian Mint in Canberra was the primary mint responsible for striking the coins, and it produced millions of 20-cent pieces to meet circulation demand. Although exact mintage numbers for the 1998 issue are large enough to make the coin common in circulation, it remains significant as one of the last years to feature the Maclauff portrait, which gives it a certain numismatic interest and daily life. The 20-cent coin of 1998 carried important purchasing power. While inflation had reduced the value of small denominations such as the 1-cent and 2-cent coins, which had already been withdrawn from circulation in 1992, the 20-cent piece retained its utility for a wide range of everyday purchases: snacks, newspapers, public transport tickets, or payphone calls. It was an essential workhorse coin widely exchanged across the country, and its distinctive size and weight made it easy to identify in pockets and purses. The cultural symbolism of the coin lies strongly in its reverse imagery. The platypus is one of only 2 species of monotremes, egg-laying mammals, found in the world, both of which are native to Australia. With its odd combination of features, a bill like a duck, a tail like a beaver, and webbed feet like an otter, the platypus has long fascinated naturalists and represents the unique diversity of Australian wildlife. By featuring it on the 20-cent coin, Australia emphasized a strong sense of national identity, making the coin not just a medium of exchange but also a cultural ambassador. In terms of numismatic value, the 1998 Australian 20-cent coin is generally common in circulated condition. It is usually worth only its face value of 20 cents. However, examples in pristine uncirculated, mint state condition are collected and can be worth a few dollars depending on grade. More importantly, 1998 coins also exist in proof form, specially struck with polished dies for collector sets issued by the Royal Australian Mint. These proof coins with their mirror-like fields and frosted details are much more sought after and carry significantly higher value, often ranging between $10 and $30 or more depending on demand and preservation. Collectors often seek the 1998 coin as part of a complete year set or as one of the final years of the Maclauf effigy series. The legacy of the 1998 issue is twofold. First, it represents continuity with the platypus design still unchanged more than 30 years after decimalization. Second, it marks the end of an era as the following year 1999 would see the introduction of the Ian Rank Broadley portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, which presented a more mature and realistic depiction of the monarch. Thus the 1998 coin sits at a crossroads in Australia's numismatic history, a reminder of tradition while standing on the threshold of change. Top 3. The 2000 Australian 20-cent coin is an important piece within Australia's decimal coinage series issued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II and struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. While it continues the familiar format of the denomination, it carries a particular significance as the year 2000 was a landmark period for Australia, coinciding with the hosting of the Sydney Olympic Games. Thus coins minted in this year, including the standard circulation 20-cent piece, hold cultural and historical resonance beyond their immediate monetary value. On the obverse front, the coin features the fourth official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, crafted by British sculptor Ian Rank Broadley. This portrait had been introduced to Australian coinage in 1999, replacing the earlier Raphael Maclauf effigy used between 1985 and 1998. Rank Broadley's portrait is particularly noted for its realism. Rather than idealizing the monarch, it presents the Queen with a naturalistic and mature appearance, including deeper facial lines, a fuller representation of her profile, and a more straightforward gaze. She wears the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most recognizable royal jewels. Around the portrait runs the standard legend, Elizabeth II Australia 2000, denoting the monarch issuing country and year of minting. For collectors, the 2020-cent coin is among the first full years of circulation to feature this new obverse, making it a notable transition piece. On the reverse back, the coin retains the enduring and iconic platypus design by the esteemed Australian designer Stuart Devlin, who was responsible for creating the original decimal coinage motifs in 1966. The platypus, a monotreme unique to Australia, is shown swimming through stylized rippling water, with its webbed feet stretched outward and its distinctive bill clearly visible. Above the creature is the large numeral 20, marking the denomination. This design, unchanged since decimalization, remains one of the most recognizable elements of Australian coinage and a proud representation of the country's unique wildlife. The physical specifications of the coin adhere to the established standard for the denomination. It is struck in copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel, with a diameter of 28.65 millimeters, a weight of 11.31 grams, and a thickness of about 2.5 millimeters. The edge is milled, reeded, giving it a textured feel distinct from smoother-edged coins like the 5-cent piece. These dimensions have been consistent since 1966, ensuring continuity in recognition use in vending machines and daily transactions. From a minting perspective, the 2000 issue is part of a large mintage run as coins were needed in abundance for circulation during a busy economic year when international visitors flocked to Sydney for the Olympics. The Royal Australian Mint struck tens of millions of 20-cent coins for circulation. Additionally, special collector editions were produced, such as proof sets and mint sets, which included high-quality examples of the 20-cent coin struck with polished dies. These collector issues are now highly sought after because of their premium finish and association with the Olympic year. The cultural context of the 2020-cent coin is especially rich. While the design itself does not change, the year of minting aligns with the Sydney 2000 Olympic Games, an event of immense pride for Australia. Although the standard 20-cent coin carried no Olympic markings, the Royal Australian Mint issued a wide variety of commemorative coins in other denominations to celebrate the Games. This meant that the ordinary 20-cent coin of 2000 circulated alongside a flurry of special releases, making it part of a historically significant numismatic landscape. The platypus motif on the reverse carries enduring symbolic weight. The platypus, with its peculiar combination of mammalian and avian-like features, is found only in Australia and represents the nation's extraordinary biodiversity. By showcasing the platypus on its coinage, Australia highlights its natural heritage and underscores its distinctiveness within the world. The animal also serves as a symbol of adaptability and uniqueness, traits that many Australians proudly associate with their country. In everyday circulation, the 20-cent coin of 2000 retained important functional value. It was widely used for bus fares, snacks, newspapers, and as change in countless daily transactions. Despite inflation gradually diminishing the coin's relative purchasing power compared to its 1966 introduction, it remained a workhorse denomination in circulation. Its relatively large size, weight, and distinctive reverse design ensured that it remained instantly recognizable and easy to use. From a collector's standpoint, the 2000 Australian 20-cent coin is generally common in circulated condition and therefore typically valued at face value, 20 cents. However, uncirculated and proof specimens carry greater value. Coins from proof sets in particular are struck with mirror-like fields and frosted devices, making them prized among collectors of modern Australian numismatics. Additionally, the 2000 coin gains special interest because of its association with the transition to the rank broadly portrait and its Olympic year issue. In uncirculated condition, the coin may fetch between $3 and $6 Australian dollars, while proof versions command higher premiums depending on demand and condition. The legacy of the 2000 20-cent coin lies in its role as both a standard piece of circulating currency and a historical marker of a special year in Australia's modern history. T stands at the intersection of continuity and change, continuing the platypus reverse design that has endured since 1966, while also embracing a more realistic obverse portrait of the Queen introduced in 1999. Furthermore, its minting during the Olympic year makes it a time capsule of national pride and international recognition for Australia. Top 4. The 2013 Australian 20-cent coin is an important part of modern Australian decimal coinage, representing both continuity and heritage within the country's monetary system. Issued during the long reign of Queen Elizabeth II, it was struck by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and remained in active circulation as one of the most common medium-value denominations. Although the coin follows the same standard design introduced in 1966, its 2013 issue belongs to the later years of Queen Elizabeth's reign and falls within the period when the Ian rank broadly effigy of the Queen appeared on Australian coinage, making it part of an important modern portrait era. On the obverse front, the coin bears the fourth official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the British sculptor Ian rank broadly in 1998 and introduced to Australian currency beginning in 1999. This portrait marked a departure from earlier effigies by emphasizing realism rather than idealization. The Queen is depicted wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most iconic royal jewels, with her mature facial features rendered in strong lifelike detail. Around the effigy, the inscription reads, Elizabeth II Australia 2013, identifying both the monarch, the issuing nation, and the year of minting. By 2013, Australians had already become accustomed to this portrait, but it remained a defining symbol of the stability and continuity of the monarchy on Australian coinage. The reverse, back, features the iconic platypus design created by the celebrated Australian artist and coin designer Stuart Devlin, who was responsible for Australia's entire first series of decimal coinage motifs in 1966. The platypus is shown swimming gracefully through rippling waters with its webbed feet outstretched and distinctive bill prominently displayed. The design is complemented by the large numeral 20, marking the denomination. This image has remained unchanged on the 20-cent coin since decimalization, becoming one of the most enduring and beloved representations of Australia's unique wildlife on currency. The technical specifications of the coin follow the long-established standards. It is struck in copper, nickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel. Weighs 11.31 grams, measures 28.65 millimeters in diameter, and has a thickness of approximately 2.5 millimeters. The edge is milled, reeded, providing a tactile grip and a distinctive feel when compared to other denominations. These specifications have remained consistent since 1966, ensuring smooth use in commerce vending machines and daily transactions. From a minting perspective, the 2013 issue was struck in large numbers for circulation, ensuring that the denomination remained plentiful across Australia's economy. Alongside circulation strikes, the Royal Australian Mint also produced collector editions in annual proof sets and uncirculated mint sets where the 20-cent coin appears in higher quality finishes. These sets are prized by numismatists because of their polished presentation and low mintage compared to circulating coins. The cultural significance of the 2013 coin lies in its representation of both tradition and national identity. On the one hand, it carried the continuity of the platypus motif, a uniquely Australian animal chosen to highlight the continent's biodiversity and distinctiveness. On the other hand, the obverse portrait symbolized the lasting role of the British monarchy in Australian civic life. By 2013, Queen Elizabeth II had already reigned for more than 60 years, and her image on coinage remained a unifying and stable emblem across the Commonwealth nations, including Australia. The platypus itself holds deep symbolic meaning. As one of only a few egg-laying mammals in the world, it embodies uniqueness, adaptability, and natural wonder. The choice of the platypus for the 20-cent coin reflects a conscious effort by the Australian government and Stuart Devlin to highlight national fauna that sets Australia apart from the rest of the world. The rippling water lines in the design also provide a sense of motion and vitality, ensuring the coin is not only functional but also artistically engaging. In circulation, the 20-cent coin of 2013 was widely used in everyday transactions, from small purchases like bus fares, snacks, and newspapers to its frequent role as change in larger transactions. While inflation has reduced the relative purchasing power of the denomination compared to when it was first introduced in 1966, the coin remains a staple of Australian pocket change and a practical part of commerce. Its large size and weight compared with the 5 and 10-cent coins also make it easy to distinguish by touch. From a numismatic and collector's perspective, the 2013 Australian 20-cent coin is generally considered common in circulated condition and therefore holds a face value of 20 cents. However, uncirculated examples, particularly those taken directly from mint rolls or collector sets, are more desirable and can attract values of $3 to $6 AUD depending on grade. Proof specimens from the Royal Australian Mint's 2013 proof sets carry significantly higher premiums due to their rarity and mirror-like finish. Collectors also look for errors such as misstrikes, off-center strikes, or double dies, which can make a 2013 coin much more valuable. The legacy of the 2013 Australian 20-cent coin lies in its role as a standard bearer of continuity. It demonstrates the enduring stability of Australia's decimal system, the long-lasting significance of Queen Elizabeth II's portrait on Commonwealth currency, and the continued celebration of the platypus as a national icon. While common in everyday use, the coin serves as a cultural artifact that links daily life with broader historical and national narratives. For collectors, it is a representative piece of Australia's early 21st century coinage, bridging tradition with modern minting quality. Top 5. The 1974 Australian 20-cent coin is one of the most iconic circulating coins of modern Australia, combining the enduring effigy of Queen Elizabeth II with a distinctive platypus design that has become instantly recognizable across the nation. First issued in 1966, when Australia formally adopted the decimal currency system, the 20-cent piece has remained a central component of daily commerce ever since. The 1974 issue represents one of the early years of decimal coinage, when the designs were still relatively new yet by then already familiar and trusted by the Australian people. On the obverse front, the coin features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II designed by the acclaimed sculptor Arnold Machin OBE, whose effigy became the second official portrait used on Australian decimal coinage. This portrait, first introduced in 1966, portrays the young Queen facing right, wearing the elegant Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The inscription around the portrait reads simply, Elizabeth II Australia 1974, giving the monarch's name, the issuing country, and the year of minting. Machin's design was widely praised for capturing both dignity and a youthful grace, and it was used across many Commonwealth nations during the 1960s and 70s. The reverse back of the coin carries the famous platypus design created by the master goldsmith and engraver Stuart Devlin, who was appointed as the goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen. Devlin's designs became synonymous with Australia's decimal coins, and the platypus was chosen as the emblematic creature for the 20-cent denomination. The reverse shows a platypus swimming gracefully in rippling water, its unique duckbill and webbed feet clearly visible. The numeral 20 is inscribed prominently above the design, indicating the denomination in cents. The choice of the platypus was both symbolic and practical. As a rare and unusual animal native to Australia, it highlights the nation's distinct wildlife heritage while giving the coin a design instantly identifiable by touch and sight. In terms of specifications, the 1974 Australian 20-cent coin was struck in copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel. It has a weight of 11.31 grams, a diameter of 28.65 millimeters, and a thickness of approximately 2.5 millimeters. Its edge is milled, reeded, giving it both tactile distinction and protection against clipping. These specifications were standardized at the time of decimalization and remain unchanged today, meaning the 1974 20-cent coin is physically identical to modern issues. The historical context of the 1974 coin is significant. Australia had switched to decimal currency only 8 years earlier on February 14, 1966, replacing the older pounds, shillings, and pence system with a simpler decimal-based dollar and cent structure. The 20-cent piece effectively replaced the old 2 shillings, florin, coin, both in size and approximate value. By 1974, the decimal system was fully established in Australian life, and coins like the 20-cent were a routine part of commerce used for bus fares, small groceries, newspapers, and everyday purchases. The minting of the 1974 20-cent coin was undertaken by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, which had been established specifically to produce the new decimal coinage. Millions of coins were struck to meet the needs of circulation, ensuring the denomination was widely available. Like most 20-cent coins of the early 1970s, the 1974 issue was produced in large numbers, making it common in circulation at the time. However, for collectors today, condition makes all the difference. While circulated examples are plentiful, uncirculated or proof specimens are considerably more valuable. From a cultural perspective, the platypus design reflects Australia's strong sense of national identity and pride in its unique natural heritage. The platypus, a semi-aquatic mammal found in eastern Australia and Tasmania, is one of the few monotremes, egg-laying mammals, in the world, and its unusual features, part duck, part otter, part beaver, made it a fitting symbol for a coin that needed to stand out from the ordinary. In choosing the platypus for the 20-cent coin, Devlin and the Royal Australian Mint created a design that resonated deeply with Australians and remains unchanged to this day, demonstrating its timeless appeal. In the numismatic world, the 1974 Australian 20-cent coin is often collected as part of complete year sets or decimal series collections. While circulated examples usually have only face value, high-grade uncirculated pieces can fetch a premium, and proof issues, struck to a mirror-like finish for collectors, are especially prized. As of today, the coin is not considered rare, but it is historically important as part of the first decade of decimal coinage, making it attractive to those who wish to assemble comprehensive collections. Finally, the legacy of the 1974 20-cent coin is that it represents a period of stability and national identity within Australia's modern monetary system. It shows the balance between continuity through the Queen's portrait symbolising the monarchy and the Commonwealth and independence as expressed by the unique Australian reverse design. Even today, the platypus 20-cent coin remains in active circulation across Australia, meaning that a coin minted half a century ago still retains both practical use and cultural meaning. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.